Welcome back to another edition of Dave Smith Unleashed. And I tell you what, thanks to everybody for liking, commenting, and subscribing. So go to the YouTube page, go to my Twitter handle at Dave Sports God. Like, comment, and subscribe, and enjoy every edition of Dave Smith Unleashed. You know what else I enjoyed? I am a huge Pac-12 fan. Pac-8, Pac-10, Pac-12 over the years. And I miss that conference desperately. And we're only in our second year now. It seems like 50 years ago, our beloved USC and UCLA and Oregon and Washington left us for the hated Big Ten. All over money, of course. And, you know, the Pac-12 kind of got what they deserved with incompetent leadership from the Pac-12 commissioners and the bad TV deals. And I get it. But is there still time to save the conference? Well, I think the door might be slightly ajar here. With the news I read about this morning, the Big Ten has made a private equity deal worth $2.4 billion over 20 years to Big Ten athletic departments. And there's 18 schools in the Big Ten. Now, their private equity deal is through the University of California Investors Pension Fund. Now, right away, I'd be against it if it had anything to do with the University of California. When you look at state government in California, probably the most corrupt, not only in the United States, maybe in the world, with an incompetent governor in Gruesome Newsom, Mayor Bass in L.A., the University of California system corrupt to the core. The Big Ten wants to get in bed with the University of California pension system. Right then, I'm against it, just reading that. So there's a new entity. It's called Big Ten Enterprises. All league-wide media rights and all the sponsorship deals now go through the UC Investments, University of California Investments, through the pension fund to the Big Ten. And in return, UC Investments gets 10%, now known as Big Ten Enterprises. Now, here's a big problem as far as I'm concerned if I'm a member of the Big Ten Conference. Dave Smith Unleashed brought to you by MTS Transportations. And mention the Dave Smith Unleashed podcast and get 20% off on your next shipment for all your shipping, trucking, and freight needs. There's only one business to call, and that's MTS Transportations at 800-640-6873. MTS Transportations, 800-640-6873. They have a grant of rights deal that goes through 2036. Now, grant of rights means that schools can't leave the conference and go elsewhere until 2036. Now, you know, a lot of times that's not worth the paper it's written on, and there's usually loopholes and there's usually ways out. But the grant of rights goes through 2036. But Big Ten Enterprises, through the UC system, through the UC Pension Fund, they want to extend the grant of rights to 2046, where no team could leave. Now, to me, that's ridiculous. We don't know where the landscape of college football is going to be 2 years from now, 3 years from now, as quickly as it changes, teams leaving conferences, TV deals. You want to lock yourself in for 21 years if I'm the Big Ten? Hell no, not me. I know that $2.4 billion over 20 years, I guess sounds good. But in reality, that's not a heck of a lot when you're splitting it 18 ways and all the expenses that Big Ten schools have. And let's not forget this. The Big Ten already has a 7-year, $7 billion media rights deal through the year 2030. Now, the commissioner of the Big Ten, Tom Petitti, of course, is in favor of this, as are 16 of the 18 schools. Now, I'm surprised Ohio State would be in favor of this, them being a power player and one of the biggest brands in college football, one of the most recognizable names in college football. I would say USC, Michigan, and Ohio State are the three biggest brands in that conference. And, of course, the Big Ten commissioner, Tom Petitti, is all in favor of this. But here's the good news, as far as I'm concerned. USC and Michigan are holding strong against this deal. Now, the Big Ten, at least as of now, is saying this is a done deal. You're going to have to sign this and agree with every other school in the conference. And this is it. We've all agreed to this. Michigan said we didn't. USC is saying we didn't. Now, one of the members of the Board of Regents of Michigan called it a payday loan because a lot of schools in the Big Ten are bleeding money despite the big deals. Now, they have a 7-year, $7 billion television deal already in the Big Ten. But again, when you split that 18 ways, and, you know, schools are trying to keep up. They're trying to raise NIL money. They're building new stadiums. They're building new facilities. They're building new weight rooms. They're spending all kinds of money trying to keep up with the big boys, the USCs, the Ohio States, the Michigans of the world, the Penn States of the world. So they decided they would go the private equity route and throw in with the University of California system. Right away, don't do it, boys. All of us who live out here in California, we know how corrupt the state is. We know how corrupt the politics are. And we damn well sure know how corrupt the University of California system is. Fraud, abuse, waste, and corruption from top to bottom in the UC system. Big Ten Enterprises, okay, you want to throw in with them? Okay, I can see why. Now, USC, of course, is against it because they're getting short money here. Because they're a brand new member of the conference, they're not going to be getting as much money as the other schools. And Michigan is against it because they call it a payday loan, and they don't think it's economically in their best interest and feasible to lock in for another 21 years. Now, here's an interesting quote again from the Board of Regents member of the University of Michigan. Quote, "We have options, including going independent." How about that, Big Ten? Now it's going to be a game of chicken. We have options, including going independent, and we're sure as hell not going to do a 21-year grant of rights deal through 2046. And he said the same thing that I just said. We don't know what the landscape of college football is going to be in 4 or 5 years. 21 years from now, you want us to lock into that? No way. No freaking way. So this is going to be a game of chicken here. Who's going to buckle first? Is the Big Ten really ready to allow Michigan and USC to leave over this? And they're threatening to leave. Michigan's threatening to go independent. USC is threatening to go independent. Michigan and USC, there's talk about them joining the SEC, the Southeastern Conference. Big Ten, you want to see your two power schools, USC and Michigan, go to the SEC? And be playing Alabama and Georgia and LSU and Ole Miss and Florida and Texas A&M and Texas and Oklahoma and all the power schools down there every year? That only makes the SEC that much stronger. Or does the Big Ten think that Michigan and USC are bluffing? They don't want to really leave all that money. They don't really want to leave the Big Ten. Right now, it's a game of chicken. Who's going to buckle first? I would imagine the conference would buckle first and maybe try to restructure this deal because they don't want to lose Michigan and USC. But I have the best idea of all. How about this one? Go independent? Maybe. Go to the SEC? Maybe. But if you're leaving the Big Ten, come home, USC. Come on home. Let's reform the Pac-12. And bring Michigan with you. Welcome home, USC, and bring Michigan with you. You know, they could get one hell of a rights deal if you had, and bring Oregon and Washington while you're at it, too. Because Oregon and Washington are getting short money like USC. I'm sure they're not happy with this new media deal as well, this private equity deal. Now, how about this for a conference? Let's reform the Pac-12. USC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington, Cal, Stanford, Ohio State, Washington State, that's 8. And who's the 9th? How about hail to the victors, the University of Michigan? That's right. You heard it. Welcome home, USC, and bring Michigan with you to the Pac-12 conference. Now, you want to stay at 9? They probably want to add 3 more. I'd try to get Ohio State to leave and come with me to keep that rivalry with Michigan alive. But, you know, if you can't do that, okay, how about Boise State, San Diego State, and Fresno State for the final 3 to make it a 12-team conference? If you don't want to raid, maybe raid some of the big boys in the Big 12 and the SEC and the ACC. Maybe. That could be down the road. But in the meantime, how about Boise State, San Diego State, and Fresno State? So there you have it. Let's reform the Pac-12. Tell the Big Ten to kick rocks, Michigan and USC. Tell them you want no part of this UC Investments pension fund that the Big Ten is trying to force on you. Big Ten Enterprises. You know, they can go kick rocks. You can kiss my ass, Big Ten. And well, you could get one hell of a media rights deal. You have the whole Pacific time zone here if you reform the Pac-12. Bring Cal and Stanford. They shouldn't be playing in the ACC. It's called the Atlantic Coast Conference, not the Pacific Coast Conference. But bring back Cal and Stanford. Bring back USC and UCLA, Oregon and Washington. Oregon State and Washington State are still in the Pac-12. And bring Michigan with you. There's 9. Boise State, San Diego State, Fresno State. There's 12. I've solved the problem. Dave Smith has done it again. Let's reform the Pac-12, and they could get, boy, with Michigan, USC, Oregon, Washington, they could get one hell of a television rights deal. Huge numbers. I say comparable to the SEC and the Big Ten. If you had all those schools in the conference, why the hell not? Reform the Pac-12, and once again, welcome home, USC, and bring Michigan with you. Oh, I love the sound of that. All right, let's get to our NFL Lock of the Week. We do this every Friday. Another big win last week with the Cowboys -3 over the Raiders, 8-3 on the year. How about a scorching 8-3 with our NFL locks against the spread? 73%. And if we hit this week, we'll be up to 75%. Go to 9-3. I like this game. I'm going against my better judgment. I never like to lay more than 10 on the road. But I'm going to do it this week. I see where the Seahawks are favored by 12.5 over the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to buy the half point and make it -12. You know, teams are never as good or as bad as they looked the week before in the NFL. The Seahawks, what an embarrassing performance last week. 4 interceptions by Sam Darnold, a complete train wreck, a nightmare against the Rams here in Los Angeles. I think the Seahawks bounce back. They're only a game out of first place in the NFC West. They're only a game out of home field advantage. They got a lot to play for here. I think they're going to be loaded for bear. I think they were embarrassed last week. I think they're going to hammer the 1-9 Titans, who've lost 6 out of their last 8 by more than 10 points. Against my better judgment, I'm going Seahawks -12 over the Titans for the Dave Smith Lock of the Week. Okay, that does it for us. Thanks for tuning in, and that's it for Dave Smith Unleashed. Follow us on Twitter at Dave Sports God, and of course on the YouTube page of Dave Smith Unleashed. Welcome home, USC, and bring Michigan with you.